And was it always going to be modernised, or was that something that came about later?
Nope. No, I put it in, moved it to ancient Rome initially.
Ancient Rome,
yeah. That was the first 2 years.
And that's not a joke.
That's First 2 years was in ancient Rome.
First of all, massive congratulations on the film. It's such a triumph. And I think one of the really great things about watching it that first time is kind of discovering the tone and how it's maybe not exactly what you're going to expect from it. So I wonder, reading it for the first time, how does it feel to kind of see it play out on the page?
When I read it for the first time, it was all there. You know, some scripts you read, you think, oh, I can feel a bit of something there, but it really was all there. It was so tight, and it really told you what to do, in a way. So coming into it, I just knew I had to honour it as best I could, really. And in terms of Colin, his journey felt so specific. Where he starts, where he finishes, it's such a journey, but it's done so subtly and carefully in Harry's writing that, again, it was just about turning up every day and trying to make sure that I'm, making sure I'm looking after that journey as best I can.
You never been with a biker then?
Biker, no.
Based on a book, where did you come across the book and what compelled you to adapt it to a film?
I was sent it by Eva Yates, who's had a film at the BBC. She sent it to me and said, she thought I'd like it, which makes me laugh now. It makes me seem quite kind of seedy. But I read it in like a gulp and I found it made me laugh out loud, and it made me think about the kind of definitions of romance and relationships, and I thought it was a really compelling kind of tonal cocktail to try and translate into film, because the tonal cocktail is achieved through a first-person narration in the book. So looking for kind of visual ways to translate that, it was an exciting challenge.
And was it always going to be modernised, or was that something that came about later?
Nope. No, I put it in, moved it to ancient Rome initially.
Ancient Rome,
yeah. That was the first 2 years.
And that's not a joke. That's
First 2 years was in ancient Rome, and then it went on the water. It went to a cruise ship in the 80s, and then finally it went.
Can we make this into a
That'd
trilogy?
be great, wouldn't it?
Same characters, but like Roman times, and then a cruise ship.
Let's run it again.
Yeah.
But yeah, ultimately, not only did we not have the budget for ancient Rome, but it was
Nor a boat.
nor a cruise ship. It felt most interesting actually when it was kind of like unburdened by some of the historical contexts around like the repression of homosexuality, which I think would have like given the stories different inflections. I wanted it to be in like a contemporary British setting where closeting was less of an obvious explanation for like the way Ray is.
And in the version that we do get, it's bookended very nicely by these barbershop quartet performances. I assume that's not something you had in the back pocket?
No, that was not a sort of asterisk on my CV. No. It was something that took a lot of work, really, all of that stuff. But I'm so glad that we did it and we had the time to do it. It kind of, I think it really sort of set the tone in terms of where we meet Colin and then where we get to him at the end. And also it's fascinating to look at another sort of gang, a gang of barbershop singers against the obvious biker gang, and the sort of contrast there was an interesting sort of, tone or texture to the movie. So that was a lot of fun to do, but it's quite difficult singing actually so close to each other. So it was something that took a bit of thinking.
Did you kiss? I don't think that is any of your business.
That's your boyfriend.
And then in terms of hobbies for Ray, he's biking, he's wrestling, he's playing piano. Did you have to do a lot of training or prep in that sort of way?
Not really. The piano, they kindly gave me a little synthesizer a week before we started shooting so I could work on that little thing. But I never really mastered it, and it works kind of well in the scene because I was supposed to be frustrated in the scene, and that came naturally because I couldn't really fucking do it.
I'm going to choose to believe you're going to stop that.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
like, try to focus.
Yeah, exactly.
I was wondering if maybe I could sleep in your bed. Not every day, I really. I wouldn't want that.
You guys look really good together.
Sometimes actors like to get homework from filmmakers, you know, maybe this film or that film. And in a film, the tonal cocktail is maybe my favourite expression I've ever heard. So I
think I
that
sound like quite wanky. I just said it twice in a space of 10 seconds. Thank you.
I like it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But in terms of this tonal cocktail, when you're trying to explain it to actors, are there any touch point inspirational films?
I did send you, certainly, I don't know about Alex, but I sent you, I think I sent you Tony Erdmann, maybe.
Yep.
Which is kind of, it's basically what I sent everyone, no matter what the project, it's just because I like the film, but I think that that has a really interesting balance of naturalism and broad comedy and sincerity and like surrealism, you know, it really moves about but manages to feel very coherent as a whole, and so that was probably a touchstone. And actually the director of that randomly came to our premiere, and so I only learned about 20 seconds before we were going on that she was there, and that didn't help the nerves.
We talked a bit about Scorpio Rising, but
Was that you, or was that, did I send that to you? Because I haven't seen that. So it must have
oh,
just
maybe I
been,
talked to myself about
think
that. I had a conversation in my head about that one.
but I know you did. Yeah. 'Cause you
But again, aesthetically, it's very different.
Yeah,
Because it's
yeah.
like, when you hear kinky gay bikers, like that is the aesthetic that I first thought of, like, which is kind of the more Marlon Brando version of it, kind of the you know, the kind of the sexy leather jacket, the denim jeans, that kind of. I love that Harry went for different aesthetics in the film, that it's more updated, more contemporary, and more kind of, there's a functional element to all the clothes. Like it's real biking gear. It's not for show, really. I mean, but then there's a kinky element to it, but it's actually like, it's a real, you know, it's like, it's not an old Harley Davidson. It's like a modern crotch rocket thing, right? and so the aesthetic is different, but I talked to myself about.
Yeah, when I got it sent, before reading it, I thought, oh, it's going to be sort of Tom of Finland doing
Yeah.
that kind of
That's what I
biker
thought,
thing,
yeah.
and then you read it, and oh wow, no, it's completely different, which I thought was such an interesting angle on it.
And Ray's mostly in like sweatpants. It's like, I mean, we have the full leather gear, so like this, but when at home, that was a lot of fun at the fitting. It was like, well, what Ray is incredibly comfortable in his own skin and wouldn't like put on something to try to look sexy for Colin. So he would just walk around in whatever underlayer he has when he's out riding the bike, which is like, you know, could be a fleece or like just like, you know, sweaty tank top or like, you know, so it's, it was fun to kind of play around with the aesthetic of it.
Colin, if you're not happy... No, I'm happy. I could just maybe be a bit happier. You know I love you, right?
It's not what this is.